Welcome back to Less Dynamic Coffee Sessions. Been wanting to have this from some time, like a rose special session. So, I was having like a rose oolong in the evening, and I thought, why not continue that through the day? So, I have picked two coffees today. So, both are like in the region of rose. So, it's not like a rose coffee, but it's like a natural. And so, this is Naivo's Ratnagiri lychee, rose water, squash melons, and watermelon. And this is Rosselle Blend. So this one, the Rosselle blend is also like taking Ratnagiri, but then blending it with Colombia. So this is essentially India meets Colombia in a cup. Finest Farm Ratnagiri meets Finca el Diviso in Huila, Colombia. So this is like more complex, if I can say. So there's different methods that come together. So there is yeast anaerobic and thermal shock naturals. So thermal shock naturals is Colombia and yeast anaerobic is Ratnagiri. So this has tasting notes of lychee, custard apple, rose, berry, white florals, and I've had it for a few months now. I have done all type of experiments with that, like with cold brew, with like different blends, with pour over, obviously. So, and this one I've had two, three times. I'll give you my impressions right away. So, like I said, this is a little elevated experience, but I would not say this is good or that is good. So, the point of this comparison is to appreciate the range and the flavor that these two coffees bring. So, starting with Rosselle, I'll just tell you the aroma. So this is more complex in terms of like if you have a spectrum of fruits, it gives you that kind of a complexity. And this is so rose typically, like I have gathered some different form of rose here. So rose has two kinds of appeal in terms of flavor and aroma. So one is that pungency you get. So if you have like those dried rose petals in like an Indian mithai or a sweet or a white chocolate, then you taste that little chewiness of it, and then it has an aftertaste, a little berry kind of note. And the other thing is in rose water, it is aroma heavy, and it's like a little hibiscus kind of texture in the water. So, like I've talked previously, like rose is a very interesting thing to play around with in any product, be it coffee, tea, or even a soap or any other things. But coming back to this aroma of Ratnagiri, so this is Culture Naturals Rose. So this has more of like rose, like what you expect from rose. This has those things, so more like rose water. So a bit about this coffee. This is 48 hours anaerobic fermentation. So I think essentially both have taken the same coffee, but this is blended with Colombia and this is just like it is. So this has like lavender also. And the thing I was talking about, the floral signature of a rose, there is two kinds. So one is orthonasal and retronasal. Orthonasal nothing but the aroma arising from the nose, and retronasal is aroma arising from within the mouth. So some signs there, but yeah, if you just ask in a simple terms, it's a very palatable and very aroma and floral forward coffee. So let's just brew this, and I have this uh, rose oolong also. So I quite like this. Is like a high mountain rose oolong by Sancha, and this is the tea, and this is just the rose petals. So I'll try to just taste and compare with these things. So let me brew the coffee. Since I've talked so much, I'll directly get to the coffee tasting. So the coffee is brewed. So to start with the Rosselle blend, doing these tastings is easy. I can always say it smells of rose. Yeah, it pretty much smells of rose, and I don't know what else to say. Maybe white chocolate. I would say the Naivo one has more pronounced like sweetness of rose, and this is more complex. So I don't think you'll get this kind of complexity much because most of the like fruit co-ferments that we are getting, like Roselle also brought out peach and strawberry and watermelon, and I think there is different roasters that are bringing out. There is genetics that has something called watermelon, and Grey Soul obviously has Mogra, which is quite popular. So the next one I'll do is Grey Soul Mogra with Naivo Jasmine. I have things that I could share right now on that, but I'll wait for that one, that session. But talking about Roselle and Naivo's Rose, I would say this Naivo's Rose feels a little more perfumey because it's just the rose thing. And what Rossette has done is mixed it or blended it with Colombia. So I'll start with this tasting. So the good thing about Rosette is this Rosselle blend is that the sweetness is not overpowering. There is a nice balance throughout, and there is a base of the coffee that is made with a little hint of darkness. So that gives it a little complexity, which I like, and that's how I use it also in cold brew. And sometimes I blend the cold brew with just the regular milk or any other variety of milk, and it goes great. So this is about Roselle. So this is pretty much like rose water. I think this would similar to something like a rose iced tea. So since I mentioned it, I have this rose tea here, rose oolong. So I'll just so this tea, the way tea differs from coffee, especially in terms of these blends, is that it mixes the petals. So these are pure rose petals, and this is rose petals mixed with oolong tea. So tea brings in obviously the tannins and liqueur that makes the body. So this is rose oolong, and it's quite nice for like an afternoon blend. But I would not say it compares to the rose coffee or this rose blended coffee because tea and coffee are obviously different, and you cannot just draw any similarity between them. It's a completely different experience. Another interesting thing in Roselle is that through more sips, you start getting more of that sweetness as the flavors settle in on your palate. So on like it's like a very drinkable thing. Like you feel like having or exploring that complexity more of this blend that is Ratnagiri and Colombia. And yeah, that's not much else to say about it. It's like a winner, this thing. It's also not available now, so I'm just cherishing it. I have it very less. And coming to Naivo, it's very rose forward, and it's more like in the rose water thing. So I think this has that orthonasal and that thing going on more for it because it's very inviting in terms of it's like entering into a rose garden, and as it settles on the palate you get more layers. It's not very complex in terms of what are the different things it explores, but I don't know, it says watermelon, so yeah, maybe I get some of that freshness, but lychee is something that comes both in these. So this has been a nice tasting, and this is Rossette Rosselle Blend, not in stock now. I don't know when it will be. And this is Naivo's Culture Naturals Rose. So hope you enjoyed the session, and enjoy your coffee.